Richard Patty, 80 years old right now. Jeez, I'm old. My nickname is the King. Joined the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2010. As you can see, I wear dark sunglasses all the time. They are like my security blanket. Even though I started wearing them to protect myself, now I cannot do without wearing them. I also like my cowboy hat, but I don't have my cowboy hat with me. I'm sorry.
I was gonna put it on.
Yeah. I lost NASCAR championship 7 times. That's pretty good.
That's a lot.
I won over 200 races and placed in top 10 in 700 races. I come from a family of race car drivers. My dad, Lee Patty, won the Daytona 500 in 1959 and also won 3 NASCAR championships. My son, Kyle, he's a great racer, man. But Adam died in a race car accident in 200 at the Hampshire Raceway. My wife's name was Linda. She died in 2004 from cancer. Had 4 children. I began a career just after 21st birthday at the CME Stadium in Toronto, Canada, on July 18, 1958, Rookie of the Year. When I started racing, my father said, "Win the race as slow as you can." My last race was in 1992 in Atlanta, which means we're in Atlanta right now, which is good.
Hell yeah.
I started a career in Chrysler car with heavy engine, but there was a boycott of the heavy engine in NASCAR, so I had to drag racing for a while. I even put outlawed on the door of my car. Unfortunately, there was a crash where people were injured and a little boy was killed. This was the worst time in my life. I went back to NASCAR in 1966. I won Daytona 500 for the second time. In 1967, I won 27 of 48 races. This happened when people started calling me the King Richard, which means I'm the king. In 1970, I decided to drive a cool plate mouth Superbird. This is the car I am in the movie Cars. My wife and I even got to be the voice. That was fun filming. This is amazing. That's the best movie I've ever seen in my life. 2 of my favorite cars were the Plymouth Roadrunner and the Dodge Charger. Of course, it had my trademark petty blue color. Wanted to be my sponsor, STP. Wanted me to have my car orange, but if they wanted me as a driver to have a blue, so we compromised, and my new car was petty blue and orange. I have been unfortunate to have races with my greats Dale Allison, Cale, Yarbrough, Donnie and Bobby Allison, Darrell, Walter, AJ, Ford, Jeff, Gordon, Bill, Eli, and Jeff Gordon, to name a few. I even went to Australia to promote NASCAR racing, which was the first track open outside of North America. I have been fortunate to have President come and see me race. President Ronald Reagan was the first sitting president to come to the race. That's a special moment in America. And I got to celebrate with my family and me on Victory Lane. President George H. Bush even came to Pepsi 400 in 1992. I did not get finished that race because the race was tired to me. I survived some really bad crashes. I have slammed my car into walls, hit my head, cement pavement, flipped cars, driving when I've been severely injured and been airborne many times. Once I even had temporary blindness because of the G-forces. NASCAR put in several safety regulations after my crashes. A patty development safety net to cover the windows On the driver's side, no more face on the track. Driver has to be cleared to race in medical personnel, especially to suffering a crash, and better improve technology and safety measure in cars. I quit driving, but I'm not retired. Which is crazy. With the help of my son Kyle, he made some safety and training DVDs called Lifting It Right, TV show and a vocational and community colleges. Petty Enterprises is the name of my company, and we built it a great legend with both our cars and our drivers. It was later operated by my son Kyle until we bought out, but we renamed it Richard Petty Motorsports. We wanted to keep my name. I may not have raced in a long time, but NASCAR is in my blood. I help promote racing wherever I can. I hope to create a NASCAR museum. I even try to be an announcer. I do not like it. I do not like doing commercials. I have done commercial for Liberty Medical, Cheerios, Gallus Smith, Klein, Pardon, LaCroix, and Goody-Headed Power. I've also have been featured on Brawny paper towels. I promised my mom a long time ago that I would never promote alcohol. I did not race a mini race that alcohol company sponsored. The few times I did, I donated the money. I may be 80, the other than my body hurting from wrecks and aging. I feel great. I have been lucky to be able to have a life full of doing what I love. I really believe that the good Lord doesn't tell you His plan is. So all of you can do is get up in the morning and see what happened next. Probably the greatest, or at least the day I'm most proud of, Victory Junction summer camps I started for kids who are seriously sick. I want them to be able to have time outside and experience the fun of summer camps. I have doctors and nurses at the camp 24/7, so the kids are safe and their parents feel safe sending them to the camp. However, I'm doing great. I'm the king of the NASCAR. What you got?
Well, I mean, y'all already know me, because I'm John Wooden.
Because I see UCLA and glasses on.
That's right, I'm
Kareem,
John
baby.
Wooden. They call me Wizard of Westwood. Indiana Rubber Man in college. Man, I was born in Hall, Indiana on October 14th, 1910. But you already know that I died and at the age of 99 on June 4th in 2010. So really, I'm just a ghost. But my playing career and my coaching career is probably one of the most decorated out of any of us. I won 10 NCAA Division I national championships in a 12-year period with UCLA.
Ooh, man, that's crazy.
And that includes 7 consecutive NCAA Division I championships. No other coach in NCAA Division I has ever done that. The only teams that come close, Women's Tennessee, 3 times. I'm repping.
All I drink is whiskey.
Yeah. Even as a player, I was a 5'10" guard at Purdue University, and I was a national champion. And that was before the national championship have even been created. So you know I'm an OG. I was a 3-time All-American as well. And I was the first person ever to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame as a player and a coach, 1960 and 1973. I also coached some great players like Bill Walton and some guy named Lou Alcindor, aka Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Sounds Muslim to me.
Kinda is, isn't it? I'm pretty famous as well for my coaching methods. The pyramid of success. You ever had your coach tell you that? comes from me, guys. That was all me. But as a child, I was a role model, or my role model was Fuzzy Vandiver of the Franklin Wonder Five from a local high school of mine. But they dominated the high school scene their 4 years, and I lived up to that guy. He's a great player. And after I moved to Martinsville, Indiana, at age 14, I led my team to a state championship title in 1927. Also at that time, I was a 3-time high school all-state player. Then I attended Purdue, like I said before, and I played under Ward Piggy Lambert, and I was named All Big Ten and All Midwestern in 1930 and 32. I'm also a member of a co-ed fraternity. Ever heard of Alpha Phi Omega?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I also graduated from Purdue with an English degree. And that's where I got the nickname Indiana Rubber Man. If you know what I'm saying. But my record as a college coach, 664 wins with only 162 losses. Bet y'all didn't know this. I also coached baseball. That's right, 14 games, I was 7-7. What's up? Even record. Then, most of my time was spent at UCLA for my history. Y'all already know this. I was awesome. But, as an early child, I was born to my parents, Roxy and Joshua Wooden. And I had 3 brothers named Maurice, Daniel, and William. And I had 2 sisters, but they died at a young age, so I didn't really know them too well.
Ooh, wow. I didn't know that.
It's very sad. But it's okay. I moved on.
Yeah, true.
And after that, I also coached at Indiana State before I went to UCLA. But that was after World War II. So I felt that I had to do something while I wasn't in the war itself. But Indiana wasn't anything like UCLA because I turned UCLA from a small Division I program into a powerhouse that it is today. For basketball, that is. And many other sports, but mainly basketball. Thanks to me, John Wooden. After that, I just kind of hung out. I coached most of my career. Like I said, I retired at the age of 78 and lived happily ever after with my wife until I died at the age of 99 in 2010.
Jeez.
My name's Dan Gable. If you've ever wrestled or heard of wrestling, you've probably heard of me. I was pretty good back in the day. I'm from Waterloo, Iowa. I came from a broken home. My parents were always drinking and fighting in front of me, and I was always worried about them getting divorced. So that's kind of what I thought about back in those days. They did take care of me though. They provided for me and gave me the best childhood that I could have, minus all the hostility. I was pretty sports oriented early in my life. I grew up playing every sport you could think of. It wasn't until middle school that I figured out what my true passion was in the sport of wrestling. I figured this out through a tragic event that happened between me and my sister. Me and my sister were really close growing up, and me and my dad were riding in the car home one day, and she, my sister was missing. She didn't come home from school that day, and the neighbor, one of our neighbors at school, was talking about how he wanted to do bad things to my sister, and so I told my dad this, and we figured out that the neighbor boy had kidnapped her and molested her, where they found her body. This had a huge effect on me, and so I kind of turned all my focus into the sport of wrestling, and it kept me out of trouble. I was kind of obsessed, because in my spare time, if I wasn't working out or wrestling, then I was crying over that whole incident. Somehow I managed to find a way to bring something positive out of it. The main reason that I wanted to exceed in wrestling was to glorify my sister through my achievements, and to make my family proud of me. I'd say that I did a pretty good job of doing that. I went on to work pretty hard and reap the reward. I went to high school at Waterloo High School. I was undefeated, and I won 4 high school state championships. That was pretty good in the state of Iowa. Iowa's wrestling is one of the best states in the country. I was highly recruited by college scouts all over the world. But I decided to stay close to home, and I attended Iowa State University. Iowa State was a tough program, but they weren't known for wrestling at the time. But I would say that I was a pretty big asset. Despite my performance in high school, I still wasn't satisfied. I wanted to work harder and see where college could take me. I was obsessed with working out. For instance, me and my buddies were going to a movie in college, and we're sitting in the movie, and I'd just get so antsy I'd have to leave and go do push-ups or go to the weight room or just anything. I just can't sit down for long periods of time, just because that's how I was built. All my practice partners would testify that I was the hardest worker in the room and in the college atmosphere. When I entered the wrestling room, it was like a switch flipped in my head, and I was just mean and relentless, and nobody usually could keep up with me. During my freshman year of college, I won 45 matches and lost 0. I went on to win an NCAA championship. I exceeded all expectations of my coaches. They knew I was a hard worker, but they had no idea I was going to go on to win a national championship. After my freshman year, I won 136 matches in a row. So I ended up 181 and 1 throughout my whole college career. I won 2 more NCAA national championships, so that makes a total of 3. But a heartache came my senior year of college when I made it to the NCAA national championship finals, and I lost that match. It was pretty heartbreaking, but it motivated me even more. I decided to try to compete in the Olympics. Set a standard for wrestlers in college. Still today, everybody looks back at what I've done, but I really wanted to wrestle in the Olympics and see where that took me. I competed in the 1971 Pan American Olympics. I won gold, and shortly after, I retired. Then I decided I got bored sitting at home, and I had to get back into it. I couldn't get my mind off wrestling. So I went back and got a job at the University of Iowa. I coached the Hawkeyes to 17 NCAA national titles and 21 Big Ten championship titles. I went down as one of the most winning coaches of all time. I'm still alive and kicking to this day, and happy to be here.
That's good.
Thank you, Dan. For those of you who don't know,
Good career yourself, man.
very
All
impressive.
right, well, what you got, man?
Well, my name is Paul William Bryant. But most of y'all might know me as Bear.
Oh, I know you.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, the bear, man.
Well, born in 1913, Morrill Bottom, Arkansas. Small town, no more than about 400 people. And my Papa Wilson, my Mama Ida, God rest her. The 11th of 12 children, big family. Most days as a youngster growing up, spent time tending to the herd, working on the farm, working in the field. But eventually, had to get out of the house and do stuff on my own. By the time I was 13, got a job working at the local carnival. I'm gonna tell you all the story about that carnival. Ended up having to wrestle a bear, believe it or not. And that's how I got my nickname.
Oh,
Bear.
crap.
I got a little beat up from that, but it was one hell of an experience. I'm gonna tell you that. So I attended Fordyce High School, also in Morrill. Ended up being a two-time state champion in football, playing defensive line and offensive line.
It's pretty good.
Thank you. And got heavily recruited by Alabama.
Ooh.
I decided to go play some football. It's my dream, for sure. Now, I consider myself a pretty good football player in my own right. Of course, I didn't get any accolades of that nature, but the defensive lineman I was playing with, named Don Hudson, don't know if y'all know the name or not, played across the line, ended up being a 3-time All-American, going pro. I unfortunately was not playing in the NFL, but I decided to turn my attention to coaching. Thought that's where my talents would be best suited. Thought I knew the game pretty well. After a short stint at Union Tennessee College, I ended up going to my alma mater, Alabama, as a grad assistant. After a few jumps around the SEC here and there, I ended up getting my first head coaching job in Maryland. It's a rough go. Not the best talent in Maryland, trust me. Definitely not as good as we have here in the South. That's when I decided to move to Kentucky. Ended up with my first winning record teams. Then I got hired by Texas A&M. Hell of a squad. Called the Junction Boys. Won 2 conference titles. But something just wasn't right. Felt like I was missing something. missing home. Got a call from Alabama. Of course, I was going to take that head coaching job. No two bones about it.
Of course.
1967, first year. Ended up spending 25 years coaching those Bulls.
Long time.
Yeah.
It's a
Very long time.
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
we had some success. 6 national championships. 14 SEC titles. Was also a 3-time Coach of the Year winner. And 12 times I won SEC Coach of the Year. But I'm not one to brag, of course. And they all think this Nick Saban fella, because he tied me in natties. But let me tell you who did it first. That was Bear Bryant. After a while, 1986, my health started to deteriorate. Coaching a lot, spending a lot of time away from the family, resorted to a lot of smoking, a lot of drinking.
A lot of stress.
Yeah.
Stressful, man.
Yes, sir. A lot of whiskey going down the hatch.
I like whiskey, man. You know that.
Best drink alive.
Mm.
But actually, signs of this came when I had a little heart issue. 1977, middle of the season, cardiac episode. Ended up having to go into alcohol rehab. Started to get some sobriety going, a few months, but man, the alcohol's so damn good. I can't stay away from the stuff, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But ended up that was the end of doing me in, man. 1987. Died, age of 89. North Druid City Hospital in Arkansas. But it was a hell of a life, man. I'm telling you what. And I'll tell you the best moment of my career. Still taking that job in Alabama, because I always say, when mama calls, you come home. I'll tell y'all, John, it's been a pleasure to be here with you today.
It's been a pleasure, buddy.
Enjoy learning about your Dan. Richard, it's been a pleasure.
Richard Petty.
Richard, the King, Petty, Bear
John,
Bryant.
John,
Thank you very
It's
much.
been a pleasure. It's been
Dan,
a pleasure, brother.
Dan Gable.
Nice person.
Thank you.
Alright, guys. Show yourself. What's your name and what's your outfit?
John Wooden, UCLA.
Alright.
Thank you very much.
What you got?
Bear Bryant, University of Alabama, head coach.
Hey, what's your name?
Ryan Hoover.
Dan Gable, ball cap, wrestling shirt. My name's Tate Holmes. Is that it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm Raleigh. Alright, Richard Petty. I got good massage. I got good sunglasses. Alright, guys. Thank you very much for the project.